Hello, 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 everyone, and welcome back to this week's episode of Mind of Mandy. Thank you for taking your time to listen and or watch. So today I'm going to talk about my journey with doing tarot and oracle readings. And maybe I'll go into a little bit about the difference between the two because that has come up people have asked me what the difference is. So how I started with doing tarot. In 2000, at this point, year 2000, I'd already been on a long-term spiritual journey, you can call it. I was jumping from church to church just to find something that fit me, something that I felt good about. And hanging out with a friend, and I found a book called To Ride a Silver Broomstick by Silver Ravenwolf. That was my first introduction into anything occult. Well, through that, I eventually in early 2001, I got a tarot deck. Now, there's this whole good old myth that you're supposed to have your first deck given to you, and fuck that. I bought my first deck. I may or may not have it. I don't know if I still have that deck, but it was a unicorn tarot. I love that deck. And I started working with it. I started practicing. That was my first tarot deck. I also, before I got the first tarot deck, I got an oracle deck called the Fairies Oracle by Brian Froad. No, I don't know how to say his last name. So I had both decks at the same time, and I worked with them every day. I studied it. And in 2001, I started doing readings for other people. And I would just take, hey, if you want to give me a tip, I'd appreciate it. If not, that's okay. Because at the time, I was still dealing with a lot of self-worth issues. And over the years, I have just continued doing readings. I love doing readings. I just got done doing a reading for someone earlier tonight, and I loved it. Tarot and oracle readings, there's the idea that they tell the future. Very seldom does anything about the future come up. It's more about guidance in the now. What do you need to know now? What things are you not seeing now? What information will help you now? That's what I love about it, is it helps a lot of people get clarity and introspection on areas of their life that they're having problems in or questioning. I absolutely love that. Let's move this a little closer. And like, got a deck here. The card that a lot of people, two cards specifically that people freak out over, is the Death card and the Tower card. And they don't mean what you think they mean at all. So, first time I ever pulled the Death card, I'm just like, oh, media's told me that this means someone's going to die. Oh no, I'm scared. Then I read what it means. And I'm just like, oh, God, that makes a lot of sense. So the Death card. The Death card is a card that talks about change. Major transformative change in one's life. Like, we are talking about the kind of change that will affect you going forward. I'm trying to find in this deck for those who want to watch this. And depending on the position of the card, whether it's upright or reversed, depends on how easily this change will come to you. Sometimes change is easy. Sometimes change is very, very, very difficult. And depending on how you deal with said change is how things are going to turn out for you. Don't tell me I passed it up. I had to have. So we have a card that when it's in its upright position, transformative change that is positive. Yay. This can mean things like a new relationship, a new job, a new house, because death in and of itself indicates that there is the death of one way of life, here it is, and the beginning of a new one. This is, for those watching, this is the Crow Tarot. It's my favorite tarot deck at the moment, has been for several years. But through death comes rebirth, okay? So a good example, one of my favorite examples is when you have a child, that is the death of your life before having children and the birth of your life after children. It's a transformative change. It's very transformational, and you can't look back. Marriage is the same. Marriage is another thing that falls under this category. Getting married means the death of your single life and the rebirth or birth of your married life. We have it in an upright position. It's going to be an easy change for you to deal with, and it's going to flow very, very comfortably for you. However, if you get it in reverse, that means you're going to fight the change. Change is going to happen either way. You can't fight it. It's happening. But fighting it just means that it's going to be a little bit more difficult for you to deal with. It's happening. Accept it. Because when you don't accept the change, that's when we get into our tower moments. For years, I feared this card. I'm not going to lie. This card scared the living fuck right up out of me. I hated seeing this card in it. From 2017 through 2019, I got this card in every fucking reading I got. Whether I did it on my own or had other people. The Tower. Whoa! Tower. 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 What does it mean? It means complete dismantling of your life as you know it. Complete dismantling. Everything you knew is gone. Everything you loved is gone. Your life is not going to be the same. It is another change card. When you don't accept the change that death brought, you get the Tower. You get the Tower upside down, it's going to be even harder on you. But what I came to realize, this is a beautiful card. It is not a card to be feared. Because when our walls come tumbling down, when our life comes tumbling down around us, it has the most beautiful of opportunities. Most of us have been conditioned to build our lives around what other people want for us. So we have built our life. We did this thing. We went to school for that. We do this for, because that's what other people tell us we have to do. The Tower says, fuck all that. Fuck all that. I'm going to bring your life, bring you down to your knees, tear everything down, and now you have blocks to build your life the way you want it. How much more beautiful are you going to get than that? You have this transformational change, this big change that's happened in your life, and now you can build your life exactly the way you want it. Now I get excited when I see the Tower card, just because now I know that I have the opportunity to make things the way I want them. A third card I tend to forget because I don't see it often, that people get really freaked out about, is the Devil. That is a scary card. And no matter what position this card is in, whether it's upright or reversed, it means the same thing. It is indicative that there are chains that keep you bound, that keep you from doing the things you want to do. And guess who put you in those chains? change. You put yourself in the chains. The chains that bind you are of your own making. Yeah, it sucks. But having that knowledge means that you can change that and unbind yourself. Once again, a card that a lot of people freak out because they don't understand what it actually means. It's not a bad card. Now, one thing with tarot, every deck, no matter who does it, no matter, it has the same 72 cards. Sometimes you'll see cards called something a little differently, especially in the major arcana, but they're all the same. Oh, major arcana, what the fuck? What's that? So in the tarot, cards like Death and the Tower, Devil, the Fool, the Magician, Temperance, all those are your major arcana cards. Those are cards that don't have suits. Then you have your minor arcana, which are your suited cards, which you have wands, cups, swords, and pentacles. Now, each one of those indicates an element. Wands are fire. I don't know why. It's just what it is. Cups are water. That one makes sense. Swords are air. And pentacles are earth. Now, fire is all about change, transformation, go get it. Then water is emotions, air is intellect, and earth is usually about financial stability, material things. So you get 72 cards. Every tarot deck has the same 72 cards. You might see some decks called Pentacles coins. I have a Halloween deck that has bats, pumpkins, but it's still the same thing. It's the same 72 cards. However, we get into oracle decks. There are no two oracle decks alike. Not a single two, unless you happen to have two prints of the same deck. The two I am currently using are the Raven Oracle deck. Now, with this deck, each one has little sayings on it. Like this one right here says, 2 in 1, you are in the divine and the divine is in you. Each one of these cards has a little saying. And then I have the Moonology Manifestation, which each one of these cards has, like, this one is full moon in Capricorn, take a reality check. Each one of those has a moon phase and a zodiac sign along with a short little message. I have fairy oracles. I have woodland oracles. I have oracles that have to do with paganism. Each oracle is a little differently, which means they read differently. Like, I know, I talked about like the Tower, Death. I know that certain cards in every deck mean the same exact thing no matter what. Oracle? No. I'm not going to see the same card in two decks. That's just the way Oracle is. Now, the way I read is a little bit differently than I've seen a lot of people do readings. Excuse me. So, you book a reading with me and it's in person. The way I'm going to do the reading is I'm going to have several decks laid out. And I'm going to tell you, I want you to think of your question. Pick a deck that feels right. I want you to shuffle it. I want you to shuffle the deck while you think of your questions. Please don't tell me what the question is, because then I'm going to read what I see in the cards and not necessarily the question you asked, because there is a message here for you. And that's just the way I do it. Now, when I have to do either email readings or video readings, yeah, I do need to know what the question is, but it's still going to be the same process. I'm still going to shuffle, still going to pull cards. I love helping people get the guidance and clarity they need through these methods. It brings me a lot of joy. The way in which another part of the way I read cards is I do read the energy of the cards. Sometimes I'll have a card that may mean something in its normal context, but in relationship to the other cards in the reading, it may mean something different. And I have to be adaptable enough to understand what the message is that the universe is sending for the person to know. Because it's not always the same. There are certain cards that are very much so always the same. And even within my tarot decks, I have decks where certain cards mean, a card will mean one thing in one deck, and the same card in another deck will actually have a different energy to it. I go with the energy. There are a lot of readers out there who are very traditional. They have a set meaning. It's always what it means. It never wavers. I am not that rigid. I find that very rigid. I find that very inflexible. Energy in this universe is always changing. So why wouldn't the energy here change? My own personal opinion. And if you're a reader out there listening to this and you are a traditionalist, that means you took the time to memorize all 72 cards' meanings, both upright and reversed. And that's fucking awesome. I love that there are people out there who have done this. I am not people. I am Mandy. Mandy does not do this. So I can pull cards, and depending on what cards I pull is totally what. And also the question, like, every morning I pull 3 cards. And I'll ask, what is my message for today? What do I need to know for today? What is my message? And I'll pull a card. Like, I was asking, I got the Page of Wands. Okay, that's one card. What is my message for right now? 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 And when I do my own readings for myself, holy crap, that went flying. I don't pull off the top. I just let it. I wait for cards to pop out. Just because, what? Come on, guys. That's not right. Anyway, so I've got 2 cards. Let me get one more card. When I have a bunch pop out at once, it doesn't mean anything to me. It's got to be a singleton. And right now, my crows are being difficult. Anyone who's ever had a reading from me knows that my crows do tend to be difficult. Because I do use this deck quite a bit. It's like my favorite deck. All right. So, Page of Pentacles, Page of Wands, King of Wands, and then Ace of Pentacles. So I know that my pages are always about delivering a message. I know that wands are fire. So this is a message that I need to move forward. I need to be courageous and go for it. The King of Wands is telling me that be willing to stand my ground, not back down, and just go after it. And the Ace of Pentacles, aces are always new beginnings. This is about finance. This means that finance and abundance are on its way to me. I'm not going to complain about these cards at all. These are wonderful cards. I love this message. But that's kind of an idea of what I got. Now, somebody who's a traditionalist might tell you completely different what I just got. And that comes down to the idea that no 2 readers are actually the same. So if you find a reader and you aren't getting good vibes off that reader, even if I'm that reader, okay? If you're not getting good vibes off me, be upfront and honest. Be like, I don't think our energies are going to work well together. Thank you. Most people who aren't reading from a place of ego are going to be like, okay, cool. Thank you. I've even had to tell people, I'm sorry, but I can't read you. Because I know that I couldn't give them the quality reading that they deserve. A good reader, an ethical reader will do that. I've turned down many people. And there have been people I've read before, and for whatever reason, I couldn't read them in that moment. And when these things happen, I'd never charge. That's just who I am. I have certain people that I will allow to read me. I have gone to many people, and most people I have found are charlatans. They're not real. They do not interpret the messages that the universe is giving. They're telling you what they think you want to hear. And that is very bothersome for me. If I wanted to hear what I wanted to hear, I would talk to yes people. I'm coming to you for guidance. Tell me what the fuck the cards say, not what you think I want to hear. And you could tell a person who is just trying to give you what you want to hear by the types of questions they're asking. Are they asking leading questions? Are they asking questions that give them information without you realizing it? Because those kinds of readers are charlatans. They are fakes, and they are just out to take your money. And another thing to remember, your best psychics charge. And they charge for their time and their effort. You want to go to some cut rate Sally down the road, don't be surprised when it isn't right. When you know in your heart and your gut that she just took you for your money. Because you know what? She's not in it for the right reasons. And the reason good readers charge so much is to keep people who just want platitudes away. I have seen readings upwards of $100 for 30 minutes. Was that person worth the $100? Abso-fucking-lutely. I charge $60 for 30 minutes. Am I worth it? I know I'm worth it. Why don't I charge $100? Because that has to do with my self-worth and where I'm at in life right now. If you want the truth, I used to only charge $15 for 30 minutes because I did not value myself. And now I'm up to 60. And maybe someday I'll get to the point where I'm charging what others are charging. I'm just not there yet, and that's okay. And another thing I want to touch base here. There are a lot of events where you're going to have multiple readers at the event. And you need to know that not everyone gets along. There's always the show up front show where everyone's all big happy family, but that's not always the truth. Do a lot of people who go to those events regularly get along? Yes. But not everyone gets along. Because we're not all the same. There are two really, really excellent readers that I can't stand in person. Would I suggest someone go to them? Abso-fucking-lutely I would. Because I know they're damn good at what they do. I just don't like them. I don't like them as a person. And they both happen to live up in the Lexington area. And Lexington, Kentucky area. I don't like them. I probably will never like them. But I'm civil to them and I see them. And I have referred people to them just because I know they're really good at what they do. My feelings and ego don't need to be involved in someone getting a reading from someone other than, period. So if they don't want to get a reading from me and they're asking me for a list of people to go to, I will include those people I don't like, but I know they do good readings. So this whole concept of psychics being froofy, woo-woo, all happy, all love, all light, that is complete and utter bullshit. Don't buy into it. Also, remember, you get what you pay for. You want cut rate, you're going to get cut rate reading. You want good, you want accurate, you're going to pay for it. There are, I follow a lot of readers on TikTok. I've watched a lot of readings on TikTok. There are some that are complete and utter bullshit. There are others where, wow, damn. And those readings are for the collective. But yet, you can still feel the energy and feel like, hey, these are good readers. I am that person that if you ever want a reading, you can reach out. If you ever want to ask my opinion on someone, if I have opinion on them, I will tell you. I'll tell you if I think they're a good reader or not. That's going to be the basis of my opinion. If I don't have an opinion, I'm going to tell you. I don't fucking know. But it is something I do. I love doing readings. I have loved doing readings since I started doing them in 2001. It'll be something I'll probably do till the day I die. Do I do other things? Yes, I do. I am a manifestation life coach. I love doing that. I'm an accountant. I do that. And right now I have a Siamese cat throwing a fit because Dad is outside. Yeah, probably hear in the background. Anyway, for those of you who have been on the fence about getting a reading, I'm going to sit here and tell you, get one. See what it's like before you judge. And there's going to be people out there who are going to throw their religion at this about how it's evil, blah, blah, blah. That's your religion. If you don't like it, stay in your lane. That sounds kind of cold, kind of harsh, but it's the reality. I am that person who is going to sit here and say, there's something you don't like, just don't partake in it. But that's about all I have. Ma'am, you are fine. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here, JJ's. So for those who are watching, that is Miss Jaya, who's been throwing a fit, our sweet little Siamese girl. She's a sweet little lilac one. Anyway, she's upset because Dad is outside. It is dark and she does not like this. But anyway, that's all I have for tonight. I thank you for listening to me babble once again. Until next week, toodles.